I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to my backyard. It is absolutely gorgeous here. You see that? You see that? That's rare, literally rare in our neighborhood, okay? But it's absolutely gorgeous. Anytime when the weather is like this, I tell my family, oh my gosh, this reminds me of Cape Town, because Cape Town, this is normal. Breeze is normal. They live by the ocean there, but yeah, I'm enjoying my time, and I just wanted to say hi. I know that I haven't said much about, like about what's going on in basically in this country, which everybody is aware of, and I'm trying to not to use sensitive keywords, but I haven't said much because I just feel like I've said enough in the past. This is not the first time this has happened. Even though it's a shock every time it happens, I feel like it's a shock because each individual is different, and each individual deserves respect. And that's what makes it shocking. But it's the same old, same old. And I feel like even at this juncture, I feel like they are not trying to solve the problem, okay? They are still coming up with band-aid fake solutions, and I just feel like we will be here again, and that kind of makes me feel tired, to be honest with you, because I just feel like if we don't solve this, this problem that America is going through with the BLM movement, even with, the awareness that we have and the revolt that we just have, we really are not serious about it. And I feel like we have to deal with the root causes of this, okay? And if we don't deal with root causes, we're just gonna be spinning our wheels and going through the same thing over and over again. And I've already made a video, actually, if you recall, I made a video in the past where I actually discussed something similar, and I made suggestion in that video. I'm going to link it below so that you can check it out. So even though I'm still going to repeat myself, but I feel like it's worth checking out because that was 3 years ago, and here we go again. But it goes back to what I said, which I know sometimes what the things that I say are not as eloquent as I would like them to be, or at least they are not received the way I'm hoping that they will be received. And as a result, I end up, maybe the message gets lost. But one of the things that I felt was a solution was training of the police. I don't mean just training them in terms of how they need to do their job, but making sure that they're trained on racial sensitivity, trained on logic, trained on their limitations based on the law. I think going back to that is absolutely important, because without that, you're basically just gonna be always spinning the wheels. And another thing that actually came out from this whole thing this time, which I thought was positive, the law is becoming tough on law enforcement, and that to me is the key. Because think about it, doctors, a great example of people who have to adhere to what it is that they need to do. Even though they are there to heal, they need to make sure that they follow procedures to the T, otherwise they risk losing their licenses. So I think that's a great step forward, because they are becoming tougher and tougher on law enforcement that don't follow the rules. But going back to one of the suggestions I made in my previous video is we need to teach about the American Constitution, and teach it like starting from an early age and making sure that everybody knows what the law is and what their limitations are and what their rights are under the law, and make sure that that becomes something that's ongoing. Think about it, in every job, we have to continuously learn the same thing over and over, because they know that over time people forget it. So teaching people what their rights are and what their limitations under the law is absolutely another way of making sure that you marry both groups, basically. And I'm not suggesting here that people are at fault, but I'm saying it's important that we know knowledge is power. And so that's definitely one of the things. But I want to go deeper than that, because I feel like really the root cause of what's going on in America is how we tie revenue into people's jobs, or whether the departments remain open. Okay, one of the things in America that they do is to fund whether it's law enforcement or like schools with local funds. Okay, and basically what they're saying is, if you want to keep your job and you want to keep the department open, you better go out there and arrest people. And to me, that again, there's no logic there, because logically speaking, people are going to be inclined to be trigger happy, always ready to to attack, because their own survival is tied to the police going out there and arresting people, to create the perception that there's a lot more problem out there, that's like criminal elements out there, when really sometimes the police here can be very trigger happy, and not only trigger happy, but they just think that their job is for everybody, when they speak, to quiver and cower and do as they say, regardless of whether what they're saying is right or wrong. And so that again, like, to me, if you remove the financial element onto whether, or even the quotas, into whether the police department remains open, or people keep their jobs, if you remove that and you deal with it based on need, then you solve half the problem. Think about it. In America, they have for-profit prisons. What the hell? Obviously, if you have for-profit prisons, then there's going to be a huge incentive for people to create this, this system, this industrial complex that's based on basically incarcerating people. And right there in itself, again, an incentive to create this problem. And if again remove that, because think about it, when someone commits a crime, they're committing a crime against all of us, not to someone to make money off of that. So yeah, that's definitely something that needs to change, because as I said, that would at least go into the root cause of the problems that we see. And then a third thing that I think needs to change is the American court system. So in America, they have something called a Juris system. Those who live in America obviously know. Juris system is the stupidest thing I have ever had, and believe me, I've talked about it over the years. It doesn't make sense that you can grab someone off the street and expect them to be impartial, to be disciplined, to be professional in executing the law, or at least I should say in finding judgment, because especially because people are not taught logic, people are not, which is why, again, I recommend that we teach logic from an early age. All those, so basically you're saying to people who may already be prejudiced, and they can lie. Nothing prevents them from lying and saying, I'm not prejudiced. You're basically saying to them, here, take care of this person, and hope that they leave their biases outside and they remain impartial and professional. It's illogical. You cannot expect, think about it, doctors, again, another example, you cannot grab a doctor out there and expect them to do a professional job. That's why they train doctors, that's why they train lawyers, that's why they train judges, so that they can understand not only how to carry the law, but how to exercise professional judgment all the time. So that's definitely something that needs to happen. And also within the court system, I see a lot of posts during election time: elect judge so and so, elect so and so for district attorney, whatever. Again, why would you tie law, which is supposed to be blind and impartial, to people's feelings? When you do that, those lawyers are not going to be out there, those prosecutors are not going to be out there executing the law in the most impartial way. They basically just going to be out there making sure that they satisfy their voters, their voting base. And so in a country where you have majority white people, and if a sizable group of that is is racist, then yeah, you're going to have a problem, because now you as a judge, as a prosecutor, as you basically have to tie your own fortunes in making sure you satisfy those people. Actually, it goes back to the same thing that I read not too long ago, when people were saying that President Trump doesn't care what people think because his base is satisfied with him screwing other people. In other words, he doesn't have to do anything for his base. He just has to continue to screw other people, and that's satisfactory enough for him. And so that's the same thing when it comes to court system. Train people, have people go to law school, whether they learn to be prosecutors, defense attorneys, or judges. But at the end of the day, those are the people and only people that should be accountable to their decisions, because really it's a way for the American system to continue to be bad, because you can't hold the people responsible for the decisions of the jurors, for instance. You see what I'm saying? Or the decisions of the voters. So what I'm trying to get to is change that system. You're gonna see a more impartial, I should say, more blind justice system. And not only that, you remove the incentive for people to, with the for-profit prisons and the department relying on the revenue that comes in, whether it's through traffic stops or through, just putting people in prisons, through the bonds and bails. And I don't know, I've never been to jail, I know I just knock on wood, because in this country you never know. And so yeah, it's a huge problem. I think those are the three areas, apart from everything, education, ongoing education, not only of the police people but of the citizenry, as to what their rights entail and their limitations as well. So yeah, I really didn't want to say anything about this, because I feel like pretty much everything has already been said. And for me, I'm really looking at the root causes and how we can solve effectively this issue. Okay, I keep on looking that side because I hear something over there. Sorry, that's what happens when you're sitting outside. You have to be alert. But anyway, yeah, I went on too long, but it's a beautiful day out here, so I'm kind of hanging out and just trying to keep my head above it all, mainly because with everything that's already going on, this is just another wrinkle that is hurtful, that is sad, that just adds to the stress that Black people uniquely have to face in this world. And keeping your attitude positive takes a lot when you have to deal with such anxieties, which again, another added stress, which leads to all other issues, whether it's health or whatever. All these things combined make can be very heavy on a Black person, because it's not something we can escape. I've seen so many memes out there. The one that probably stands out the most for me is the one that says, to a Black boy, when your parent calls you last thing at night, calls you first thing in the morning. They're not trying to snoop. They're basically trying to make sure you're okay. And I've had so many, like episode where I've called my children, both my children, to be honest with you, where my mind would race and pace because I'm wondering, why am I not getting hold of them? Did something happen? And that's pretty much has been my biggest fear since I moved to America, is to run away from crime in South Africa and run away from the issues that South Africa was facing, only for my children to be, or me or my husband to be subjected to something like that, where we may be stopped, and just by being stopped, and that might be the end of it. So yeah, it's very, very scary. And I've had actually quite a few episodes with my family where we've been stopped and the gun's been drawn. I remember the other time I sent the kids to the lake and I said, you guys go ahead and hold the place for us because we're gonna be coming. And the policeman stopped them, and Luke called and said, hey mom, we are stopped. And I was like so nervous, but fortunately nothing happened. And it's scary, and it's a burden we don't have to carry. It's a burden we do not have to carry as Black people. And it's totally unfair to expect us to function at 100% or even at 110% when we have to deal with all these emotional issues that puts us under stress and anxiety. It affects us, and sometimes people don't even see that. They don't even see, they only see the surface. Okay, somebody got hurt. Think about it. If you exposed to that thing, like Black people being subjected to that all the time, you know how psychologically damaging that is to a Black person. I know it damages other people as well, but think about it. For us, it hits home. And so that in itself is again another burden that we do not have to carry, but we carry it because our forefathers and our ancestors carried the same burdens, and we just continue to march forward because we have no choice, we have no alternative. We just have to continue doing what we must in order for us to survive. And I do hate, to be honest with you, the fact that we constantly have to think about survival when other people are trying to, whether it's, make money or invent something or, focus on other things. We are so distracted by this problem. And that's why I'm saying to you, even though I know I'm saying this, I know it's not necessarily going to change anything, but I'm just adding my 2 cents and really learning to be strong and be stealth-like in your thinking, and be mentally strong to withstand and persevere under this system is something that every Black person needs to learn to do on their own, because any other way is just not going to work. So I try to think about these things, but I also understand that they are distractions, they are stress inducers that add no value to my life but take away. So I have to keep them sort of almost like in their own parallel world while I'm trying to survive and making sure that I'm functioning normally. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's something that actually I guarantee you nobody ever thinks about, the stress that a lot of Black people have to suffer. And people see us in the offices where we work, and when we're doing our jobs and stuff like that, they never think, empathize with the struggles that we have to go through, whether we're educated or uneducated or whatever. These are the realities that we have to face that no one else has to face. So yeah, I'm gonna try and not go over 20 minutes, but it really bothers me, to be honest with you, how this, apart from being a burden and something that we have to deal with, it's also a distraction that takes away from the things. Think about it. I honestly, if I never have to talk about it again, I'd be totally fine. That's what I want in life. I just want to be happy. I just want to enjoy my time while I'm here on earth and enjoy my time with my children and rest in peace, knowing that my generations will go on and they won't have to deal with such things. And really, that's the pursuit of my life. And I don't want to deal with these things, because I grew up under apartheid. I just need a time in my life where I just have peace of mind, and that's all I've been pursuing. And so yeah, but it's hard, and I'm not trying to relax while everyone else is suffering. Believe me, I do everything that I can. But my goal always is to educate for people, so that our people understand the psychological effects of this. Number one, how they can deal with that stress, and what do they need to do in order to empower themselves, and what America needs to do in order to change, so that we're not here over and over and over. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope I didn't go on too long. Okay, bye.